What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy BT, and today we've got this lovely box right here. This box with no instructions. So inside this box here, we've got something with a camera in it. We got a bunch of wires, a little box here, GPS antenna, USB cord, another USB cord, and a camera input. Also, we got a microphone. And we have this lovely unit that we're going to swap out on this 2012 Acura TSX. So as mentioned, there are absolutely no instructions in this box. Zero instructions. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get this trim out. I'm going to take all of this stuff out so we can get to this area here and hopefully be able to install this thing. All right, so first thing we're going to do is get our trim tool. So underneath, we got to make sure we plug these out. Screw off the shift knob. Okay, and then we should be able to pop the rest of these out here. Okay, so with that removed, we'll now have access to this area here. Next up, I believe we have to pull this trim out. These are held in with some clips, so we're just gonna grab it underneath here, and we're gonna pull kind of upwards a little bit. So you can see how those clips are held in there. Okay, then we get a screw here. All right, so next up we have another screw here for this trim piece, and then we have another screw on this side. So we have a screw on this side, we have a screw on this side. You take those both out, and then there we go. Now we can pull this off. We just need to grab this real firm here, and then just pull it gently towards you. There we go, so we can release those clips. That's what that looks like with all the clips in there. Same thing for this one. We're gonna grab it here and we're gonna pull gently. Again, all those clips. So we got that out. The next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take these screws out right here. All right, so next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna pull out this little velvet, this little tray here. Okay, so you just grasp it on both sides, pull out. There was a screw in here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull these screws out right here. Two plugs behind here. Plug these out. I'm gonna set these screws aside with this unit so we don't mix anything up. So far we removed, there were two bolts here. We removed those two. And then there are two underneath here. You can see 1 and 2. We're gonna take those out, and then we should be able to pull that out without having to remove all of this section right here. Next step, after you pull the screw out, you gotta really pull on this thing right here. And once you pull on that, you're gonna be able to pull that out. Then you can see there's a plug back there. Release this little clip here, and we should be able to take that out. Once that is out, you can see way back there in the deep, there are two screws right there. And that's gonna get this guy to come out. Okay, so here I've got this hooked up, and I've got an 8mm on the end. All right, so I've got this hooked up with an 8mm on the end, and we're just gonna let that run and get that out. Okay, with all of those screws out, then you can just pull and release this guy here. And we do have a little plug right here that we've got to take off. Okay. Get that plug off, then we can move this guy out the way. All right, and with this out of the way, there are two screws, one here, one here. We'll take those out, and then we should be able to pry this out. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just pull on the radio until we get it to release. Oh. Okay, there we have it. The radio is out, so now I'll just have to release the harness from the back side. All right, there we go. Whole unit's out. This radio is manufactured by Panasonic. All right, so we got this out of the way. I'm just gonna pull down from the top and see if there are just clips that will release this guy. Yep. Perfect. All right, we're out. All right. So this is out as well. So now we've got to figure out this wiring. So we're gonna just undo this and see what goes where. Now you can see why it's much easier to install a unit here, because you don't have to mess with the top piece. I'm not even sure how the wires are gonna get down here, because currently there's no, I don't even feel an opening, but we're gonna have to fish these down here one way or another to get them into this section here. But either way. Okay, so on the back side, we know this black connector is gonna go here, so that's got to get fished up. So that's that piece. Then we've got a couple other connectors coming up here. Okay, I'm gonna plug this out here. We're gonna undo this. All right, so for this, we know this is also gonna come into the back side of here. Okay. Also know that there is some cable here. This is gonna plug here. All right. So we know that we're gonna need to, this is for the camera. We are gonna run a camera, so even though we don't have the camera set up yet, we're gonna run that wire from the backside through here. So that'll go there. Right, so we have a little unit here. This plugs into the back of this. Okay, so we know we have this wiring. All right, so this wiring is gonna come up from the back. So we're gonna have to fish that up. This black wire is gonna come up, so we're gonna have to fish that up as well. Okay, so we know we got these two. We also have this white one. That's also coming up as well. So that needs to be fished up. This will stay down, this will stay down. All the rest of these will stay down. So far, that's all we've got there. So we've got those two going, we've got those three going into the back, plus this, 1, 2, 3. And then we know we have these two USBs that go into the back as well. We're gonna have to find a home for these USB ports. But for now, what we'll do, let's see if we can find a place to run these. All right, so I got this camera wire here. I'm actually going to I'm going to attempt to run this through as a placeholder. All right, so we got our camera wire run through as a placeholder. And we just took that off to the side for now. Okay, so last thing we got to do now is get these wires put into the right spot here. So we have to feed these up to through the backside. These have to get fed up through the backside. Let's see if we can't organize this in some fashion here. So we got a bunch of inputs here. This one actually doesn't need to be fed in, it just needs to sit in the back. So I'm gonna put this one to the side. This also needs to be put up there because those will go in. So we will be using this. The auxiliary lines left and right will go in. So here we go. So we've got to get this bunch of wires up through here. Okay, that's one. All right, next up, we've got these two right here. All right, so we've got everything up top that we need. We know we've got to plug these guys in here. And then the rest we can probably start the assembly process here. We've got our placeholder camera wire. And we've got we also have our new clips here. I'm gonna go ahead and put those in place. Okay, clips are in place. So we're just gonna start plugging up, matching up the correct wiring here. So first up we got our camera wire. Then next we got our 4G connection here. Got our GPS wire. Yeah, so this has to be fed up as well. This has to be up here as well. This will feed into this plug right here. That will be in place. I think we're gonna just tuck that off to the side. We have two more plugs here. Those are the USBs. So first up, we've got some plugs to put into these harnesses here. A lot of these are gonna be jumpered over. So let's start with the first one. So this one will plug here. So we'll get this plug outside of that. That will go into the other unit. We have this plug here. Let's see, yeah, that goes in here. So snap that in place. Okay. Some of these will still be retained and used as is. But those are those, and then we have this little unit here, this little module. That will get tucked away. All that's left to do now is plug back in the head unit and see what happens. There we go. So I reached out to the seller, and this connection here goes behind the steering wheel. The only issue we're gonna have is, you can see as you turn that steering wheel, the plug is actually in here. These wires are gonna end up spinning around, so it's questionable as to whether we're actually gonna be able to use the steering wheel control for this particular setup. All right, so it took me a while to figure this out, but you have to come into the system settings in order to download the file that's needed. All right, so what you do is you go into car settings. The password is 8888. You hit OK, and then you come here into CAN bus settings, and you're able to download the latest version. I did hit download. It was supposed to be downloading, so we're gonna hit that again and see if we can get the update that's needed here. Alright, so now that we've got that downloaded, let's go ahead and see if we get any changes. Since we know this airbag light's going to be a problem, we're going to actually take this off. We're going to plug it into the harness and tuck it in the back. Alright, so once you get sorted through and you test fit everything and everything looks good, what you can start to do is cleaning up the wires so that you don't have wires dangling everywhere. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wrap the excess wire with some electrical tape. Now this particular set of wires is supposed to be for the steering wheel control, but based off of how this is set up, we're going to completely bypass that altogether. Okay, so everything wrapped up nice and neat. Now we can actually get ready to do the final install. So we have those two jumpers in, and then everything else comes off the stock. We'll go ahead and get everything hooked up. Alright, so this is our final test fit. Make sure everything is in place properly, nothing's missing. With everything tucked and put in place, we'll take the radio, put it face down, slide it back, and then tilt it upwards to get it to set in place. All right, so we're just gonna let that sit there, verify that we're still working here. All right, so now that everything's set in place, what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this back into the clips. So everything's set there. Then we can put the screws back in the bottom. All right, next, we can get this box, put it back in. So to recap, we can start by taking this centerpiece out here. You use a trim tool to help you get those clips out. You can start from the top and kind of work your way back, take off the shift knob. Then you're gonna have to, once you get this out, you'll see some screws exposed for these trim pieces here. You take this screw out here, this pulls out. You have to take this piece off first. There'll be a screw underneath there. You'll take a screw out from there, then you'll pull this out. Then you'll get access to the rest of the screws here. Then what you do is you pull this piece out, use two hands, pull this out. There's a screw under there. Then you can pull this out. Then there'll be 4 screws on the AC control section, and you pull that out. Underneath, there'll be 2 screws way in the deep for this section here. And I believe there are 2 other screws on the top. Then this can come out. There's some harnesses that need to be unplugged from both of these sections here. Then up here, you'll have 2 screws in this area under here, and then you have 2 screws under the bottom, and then you can pull this out. The top section, you can actually pull out by kind of just pulling down on the panel a little bit and then pulling towards you, that for the stock unit that was up here. And that, in essence, those are the steps of how to remove the center console in order to get to the radio unit to do whatever you want to do. So now that we got everything cleaned up, we're gonna have to work through some of the settings on this device to get everything up and running. But so far, we're good there. We still have the backup camera that needs to go in eventually, but everything seems to be working. What we're gonna be working on is the AC controls so that it's actually the right setting, we'll call it the right schema for this particular car. So I reached out to the manufacturer to get that information. But as far as getting this set up, once you go into Z-Link, you should be able to activate it. Once you activate it, you can log into the Play Store, set up your account, log into the Play Store. You can download Android Auto if you have Android Auto, but what you want to do is you'll have to get into the system settings here, the factory settings. The password is 8888, and then you'll be able to see the CAN bus settings in here, which is the first selection at the top. This is what we'll be trying to figure out, which is the correct setting so that the AC controls can work properly. So far, it's gonna work well for the Android Auto, the CarPlay. All of that's gonna be good, but the main control is to be able to see the appropriate temperatures that you're selecting from here. If you can't see that, that kind of makes it a deal breaker. That's a key component to be able to see what temperature setting you're actually on, not just whether it's high or low, you know, one extreme over the other. So we'll keep working through that to get some additional content out on this particular unit. As for this video, we're done. The install is complete. It's your boy BT. Thank you for checking out this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.